Well, greetings. Good to be back with you. We're going to talk a little bit about Anthony. And the title of this presentation is Moments. Attempting to recall in chronological order significant memories and moments of my life uncovers that some moments dwarf in substance other moments merely remembered. My birth and my birthdays are like that. The first of my significant early memories is my father disciplining me with his belt. As you can probably tell, I'm reading much of this because I really didn't want to do this off the top of my head. So I hope you're not distracted by my looking at what I have already prepared. So my early memories start, really the significant ones, the ones that are deeply impressed upon my heart, is my father disciplining me with his belt, having me dropped my pants and me leaning over the edge of my bed. Another is a scene on a beach cove type setting as the waters of the Atlantic there were quite still. They washed in a gentle dance, fields of kelp. My mom and my brothers are there. The youngest and I on the beach with her, the two elder out on the jetty fishing with my dad. Sitting on the floor of the community center, not far from that beach scene, with a large group of youths listening to a later quite famous performer sing and strum, is the next picture thought that I have that comes to mind. My mom, having fallen on the floor at the foot of the stairs, having fallen down the stairs. It was a sad scene, and I remember it quite distinctly. And later she instructed me that I would have to choose between them, meaning between my mom and my dad. I chose my dad. The other three had chosen my mom, and I was concerned that my dad might be lonely. And so I chose my dad. A school play, singing in a band, graduating from high school, wrestling with the turbulence of college and Vietnam and marching on Washington, scrambling to get away from the tear gas and trying to orient myself to the disruption of my dad's failure to provide the necessary info for me to get a college loan to finish college. Life became so cacophonic, so turbulent, so uncertain. What the hell? I asked myself. I thought in desperation, what's going on around here? What is this? Well, I set off psychologically and I set off geographically to find out. And I spent several years on the road. But before I left, my elder brother came to see me. I had given him in a letter a reason to be concerned about me. And it was wintertime. And as I woke up in my dorm room where I still was living and stepped out of my room to go to the men's room, I tripped over a sleeping figure on the floor outside my dorm room door. And when I came back from the bathroom, it was my brother, my elder brother. He had nothing with him but the clothes he wore and a Bible. That's it. He told me that he had come to make sure I was okay. Stayed a couple of days and he left. Well, after that, somewheres down the road of my life, I wandered quite a bit for several years looking for information about what's going on around here. And I sampled different religions and I explored different philosophies and the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the I Ching and L. Ron Hubbard and different modes of understanding and approaching questions about life and about living. I have an old photo, amazingly dated as well, taken during a visit with my mom in Boston. It's dated 1970. Spent some time in Boston, spent some time in Newark, hitchhiking around Pelham, New York, which is where my dad and stepmom lived. I checked out, mostly superficially, some denominations, some other philosophical schools or religious bearing. I read a book about the I Ching, parts of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, some other stuff. I read the Bible. Usually when I read the Bible, I read the Gospels or Revelation. But while in Newark one evening, staying with a family of an acquaintance whom I thought was sexually interested in me, I read the Gospel of John. I wondered as I finished John for the upteenth time what Acts might be like, what the book of Acts was all about. So I read it. That was interesting. It was very interesting. So I continued and read Romans, the first of the epistles of Paul in the certain Bible I was reading. And at chapter 13, verse 11, I stopped, stunned by the relevance and truth of that verse regarding my situation at the moment I read it for the first time. And part of that verse reads, quote, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed." End of quote. I didn't know about salvation except metaphorically, but I did perceive a true statement of my condition, my status at that moment. I was nearer to the truth that I sought, as I was also farther from that original fearful question, what the heck is going on around here? At that sparkly moment, I discovered God's truth about me. I was nearer than when I had begun. That He is truth, and that truth, His truth, matters to me. I took my first step at that moment in my heart and in my mind in His way, in the way, as Christ characterized it. In my mind. Actually, I had taken that first step long before, but at that moment in 1971, I claimed it. There is a straight line from that moment to this. It's a spiritual line. And along the way, I have been shown the truth, and I have received treasure. I have answered many questions, and I have asked more. The most important is, what should I do? I have many things to say. The most important is, I love you, and how can I help? So these are some of my moments, some of the beginning, some of the platform of who I have been and whom I am becoming, having been made of God who I am. And I look forward to a journey of understanding and increased and enlightened awareness and useful and practical truth in this wonderful venture of life together as people who care. God bless you.